Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy A Weapon Too Horrible for War, written by Noman2626. Ainu placed his head back slowly on the pillow left to him, keeping his eyes closed, breathing in the strange air of this place. When the illness that had seized him was explained, he had leapt about and yelled, wondering how his own blood could become treacherous to him. He had drawn his knife and was about to see if he could bleed the vileness out, but the Great Ones had seized him and told him to lay down his arms, while they had their own far more potent weapons. He had accepted and was brought here to a land of white stones and silver, where beds lay in rows filled with these people, the Great Ones gliding from man to man and plying all matter of tools that he didn't understand. Blades like the teeth of venomous animals, connected to clear stomachs of colorless fluid, covered in ruins of the Great Ones. Their tongue was one that he could speak, and even read in some cases, but the words displayed meant nothing to him. Perhaps it was the titles of their gods, who banished diseases so effortlessly. Ainu mused on the power of these spirits. Perhaps, had his people worshipped these same gods, they may have been as mighty as the Great Ones. Deities of deities, he wondered if there was even an upper limit. Still, he was comfortable in the strange land. He was allowed visitation by his family and food, while something unrecognizable to any dish that he'd eaten before was something that he could stomach with relatively little difficulty. He spent most of his days in a strange place, eating what he could best be described as seeds, strange white objects of regular round shape, that must have been taken at strict times in accordance with when he woke, when he ate, and when he slept. Such rituals of medicine were not foreign to him, only the ingredients seemed odd. He had in secret taken 2 of these seeds when he was told to take one, and delivered it to his son, telling the boy to plant it in the ground to see if it would come of it. The more he studied the Great Ones, the more he suspected that they were hiding both everything and nothing from him. When he pressed, one would easily divulge his secrets, but only in odd metaphors or story, and the words they used amongst their own were the ones he did not know, ones he was not taught. He settled back into his bed. Perhaps such speech was a test of his people by theirs, an idea that he had been considering, almost a blasphemous one, was that perhaps if he were to pass the tests, he would become a Great One like them, and put on their marble skin. There were 3, not a one of them of those anything like his body shape. They had no carapace nor horns, and had 2 limbs beneath, 2 above, and a head atop its body. Its upper limbs ended in hands, and its lower ones ended in feet. Another had no lower limbs of any sort, but 6 in a ring around its upper segment. No discernible head. Their limbs ended in a variety of hands and feet. The third one was a long creature with 1 head, and 3 limbs from that head. It had no legs of any kind, but crawled forwards like a worm. As he thought, 2 of them walked over. The one with the 2 feet and the one with the 6 limbs had approached him, slates in their hands as they looked over their strange ritualistic implements, the daggers that they had pierced his flesh with, the soft bedding that laid him on, and with 1 to 2 limbs presented him with white seeds from earlier, alongside a cup of water. Ainu took the seed and swallowed it down, drinking as the 2 Great Ones looked at him, then to each other. The one with the 6 limbs turned to the one with the 2, and it made a motion with 3 of its legs, a motion that Ainu recognized as exasperation from its kind. "If only your people spent half the money and time they spent on bombs and medicine," it said, "then you would have cured this race with only a wave of your arm." The 2-legged Great One shrugged. "Must you do this in front of the people?" it asked, but then seemed bemused. Ainu squinted, knowing that behind the black obsidian face there was another face that he could sometimes glimpse. Unfortunately, the light of this place blocked out those features, and he leaned back again.
Yes,
the six-legged one said.
Perhaps then your kind will feel shame.
Great ones, there is no need to quarrel, Ada spoke. We would be lost without you. The two-legged one remained silent for a time, then took a small, sealed jar of seeds that it had from the pouch in its belt. Looking at it, it handed it to Adu. Do not eat one, he commanded, but read the name. Read it out loud. Anu looked at the characters. Cyclophosphamide, the label said. He tried to speak it. Cyclophosphamide, he said, nervous. Close, the two-legged one said. The two characters here, when together, sound like an F, and that one at the end there alters the sound. It is pronounced closer to cyclophosphamide. Anu felt ashamed of his error, but he tried not to show it.
Is there any point to this show? The six-legged one asked. You taught him to read, you taught him to write. Are you going to list every medication he takes? All nutrients, antimicrobials, and chelating agents they are.
Adu, please give me the cyclophosphamide back, the two-legged one said, holding a hand out to receive the object. Anu complied immediately, pressing the strange jar back into the Great One's hand. It then placed it back where it had received it.
Human, what is the purpose of this?
The six-legged one asked. The Great One, human, tapped a foot. Do you know where it came from? Asked the human. Anu picked up his head. They are seeds, are they not? He asked. I had taken one in secret, gave it to my son, told him to plant it. I thought that it would sprout. The human made an odd noise, and Anu recoiled. Was this the wrong choice? It is not a seed, but I can see why you would think that. No plant will grow of it, for it is not made by a plant.
Must you always prattle?
The other Great One asked.
Every time we speak to this kind, you always speak in the strangest things. You need not deliver every step needed to arrive at your instructions, human. You only need to command, and they obey. After what you did to the tyrants, who wouldn't obey you?
Anu asked. Human shook its head. It's important that I am not just to obey, but why? So many times in our past, being given only a command and not a reason for why led to misery.
A unique feigning of your kind, said the other Great One. You who never outgrew war, you must explain every detail of something to your kind before you do it.
Hewitt shrugged. Why do you never let our archaeologists to your homeworld? Perhaps you are hiding something. The accusation stung even to Anu. Nevertheless, I will speak of war now, but I will speak more of cyclophosphamide.
You can lecture this one, Anu. I have more important matters to attend to,
the other Great One said, leaving. Human looked at Anu and then retrieved the cyclophosphamide again. Do you want to know where this came from? It asked. Anu couldn't help himself. Human always tested him, and the solution was always the question. Yes, where did it come from? Many years ago, the human always started the stories the same way. My kin, fractious as they are, all lived in the same place, it said. As your tribes go to war, so did ours. Anu waited. Human always paused at this point to let the message connect. And in our wars, we created great evil and cast them upon each other. We mutilated the ground, slew each other in heaps, and left them there to rot. One war was so fearsome, it was whispered no more wars would ever follow it. So evil were our weapons that very few fought would ever lift their blade again, said the human.
Is that when your people found peace?
Anu asked. No, the human said. There were many wars after that. But as these evil weapons, one was so wicked that we all saw it agreed. Things such as it were to be sealed away and never used. It was poison in the air that melted the eyes and throats of those it touched, burning their skin. Those who touched it died, screaming, skinless, and drowning in their own liquid flesh. The human continued. In a war of horrors, This was one of the worst. All who partook of it swore it off come peace.
Native spoke. So, why tell me about this?
For come the next war, we had lied to ourselves. In what was once a mighty empire, we had in secret created these weapons, and placed them there. It was an accident that they were unleashed, but a terrible one. Many died, but among there was a man wise in such weapons, and clever in such ways of medicine. He saw what had been done to the people, and observed how it struck their blood, and he spoke to the others of his findings.
And, Ainu said, what happened?
What can heal can harm, and what can harm can heal. You just ate a drug descended from that weapon. Too horrible, even for war.
Too horrible for war,
the human called this thing. Ada wondered what matter of soul lay behind the marble skin and the obsidian face. End of story.
Just a quick shout out to the T5 peeps. Bob the Dragon, Cat Crab Lobster, Data Magnet, Dark Machine, Bezic, Try Again 95, Pudic Yol, Astrea the Dreamer, Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Athelia, Meridian 117, and Jordan Bucksmorm. Thank you very much.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy.